Hello architects, and welcome back to another RPG Architect tutorial. My name is Bert, and today we're going to be revisiting a topic I touched on a while back in the early days of this channel, but I had received a request to revisit this topic, and I had seen some discussion about it in the Discord recently, so I thought it might be a good time to go over terrain modifiers. So I'm still in my first person project. Here's the map we've been on, but I created this new little map just to show you guys. I figured it'd be easier that way. Right now it is simply just just square structures, but we're going to be forming them a little bit with the terrain modifier features. So let's go ahead and do that. I also turned off render fog in case you couldn't tell, or in case you just didn't notice. But so first thing I'm going to touch on really quick, because it's pretty simple, is the height modifier. You have these different numbers, and you can determine how high you want a structure to be. By default, these are going to be set to 2, and that is because when we defined our tile set under structure tiles, we have the wall height, and it is set to 2 because these are 2 blocks, 2 chunks high, however you want to say it, 2 tiles high. So the default for all these structures is 2. So by doing this, actually let me set on the right layer. This will also be kind of a de facto layer tutorial. All my structures are on this upper layer, and so if I draw this 2 in here, that's not going to do anything because this is at 2 high by default. But if I do this 1, and then I'll do 3, and actually here, let me just erase that middle layer, and you'll see that it is in fact 2 high. So you can see we got 1 high blocks, 2 high, we have the layer we defined and the layer we didn't define because it's default, and then 3 high. Pretty basic. Pretty easy to understand that one. So next up, let's take a look at our more advanced modifiers, stuff like the ramps and the stairs and whatnot. So at the top of this sheet, you have the ramps modifiers, and you can see if you're not sure how to place these, it's actually pretty easy to figure out. Like, you have the longer side on the outside, the longer hazard tape, I'm not sure what you say, the black and yellow checkers, and you have the shorter one on the inside. The inside portions are going to be your low point of the ramp, and then the outside of it is going to be your high points, right? So in this instance, if we want a ramp going this direction, we will use our north ramp. And if I drew on this layer that has our structures, drawing here would not work because that is at a height of 1, so we need to get up to the height of 1. So I'm actually going to draw on my ground layer. I'm just going to draw right here across the face and show you what that looks like. So here we go. Now I have this ramp, and it takes into account the auto tile there, and we can walk up to the next layer there, right? You just automatically walk up. There we go. Nice easy ramp function, and physics get applied appropriately when you're on the ramp. But you may also notice, okay, there's nothing underneath there, there's just a void. You can do this, you can fix that a couple different ways. So I'll do two fixes here. So one way you can do it is I'll use this northeast ramp on the left side. You can just have a ramp kind of pointing inwards, and I'll show you what that looks like. Another way, I'm going to add a new layer. Just keep all that default, and it's this one. Let me drag it underneath. Turn my ground off. On this lower layer, I'll just draw a new ground. That's what I was looking for. And I will do, just so you can see it visibly, I'll just do this white. Let's do that. Snow. I don't need the 2, but that's fine. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So you can see on this side, now we have our ramp kind of forming with the wall a little bit by using that north east ramp. And then over here you can see, well, we can see up underneath of it, but there's ground there. So whichever approach you want to use for your terrain will work. All right. And then lastly on this structure, let's take a look at the stairs modifier. And so much like the ramps, the top of the stairs are on the outside of these graphics, where the bottom of the steps will be these inside portions. So our height, we have the 3, we have a 2, we have 1, and we have the ramps right here. Let's set this 2 section. We'll set that to be steps going up to 3. I'm on my right layer, yes. And then let's just take a look at it. So you see we got our step or our ramp up. We have to jump because we don't have a step or a ramp. And then here you go. It just kind of cuts that that layer in half, I guess you'd say, or whatever. It modifies it to where, and then you can just walk right up on it, and you got yourself some stairs going. All right, cool, easy peasy. So now let's move on to that structure there. What I wanted to show you with this one is this modifier right here to the right. I guess you'd call it the edge modifier. And this one will be really good for just kind of cutting corners, cutting edges, making round structures. So what you want to know with this one is the part where it says edge, that will be like the edge of your structure. So where you have the directions, this southwest, northwest, these parts will be cut out. So let me just take this, we'll just do it here. We'll do here, here, and here. And now we'll have not a super round structure because of the way I have this one built, but you see we have these corners cut out, and the collision is all in place, so it's not like you're not like bumping into an invisible corner here. Nothing, you can be pushing up against it, and it drags your character along that corner, right? Makes sense? And you can obviously get a little bit more rounded with it. Say I did, let me just bring these in a bit, and I'll get rid of those exteriors. There you go, there's a, cut these out, and then let me go to my, sorry, I'm clicking all over the place. If I do like that, then I might get a more round looking structure. Actually, no, this is a much more, I had something good and I just didn't follow the, that's okay, but you get the point. You can really shape the buildings the way that you need. Old diamond shaped castle there, okay? All right, so now let's go over there. And what I want to do with this one, the interior modifier, this one may be a little confusing at first, but it's not too bad. It really does make sense. Really, it's just for interior corners. And so what that'll look like is I'm actually gonna do a height modifier first. Let's see, we'll do 1, oop, I'm on a race. We'll do 1 in this section, and then just for visual clarity, it is already set to 2 here, but I'm just doing that so you guys can see visually this is a 2. I'm going to set an interior corner right here. So we got our 2 layer here. This is a 1, and then I'm actually just I'm gonna mix it with the ramps. So I'll have a ramp going here and here and here and here, and let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so you can see it is an interior corner. Jump up here. If you need some, if you're doing a bunch of ramps around and you have a spot with a corner, that's one way to do it. This also works very well for roofing. That being said, that's a good segue to show you how to use these tools to build out like a roof for your structures, right? Now, when you're building out your roofs for for your houses and stuff, especially using this tile, I could, you know, technically I could do like this and like this, but since it's a black, it's got a black top on it, it looks a little strange. Obviously I have the black sky going so you can't see it, but I mean that's what it's doing. So really what I would like to do is use some other tiles to make it nice, make it look nice. Now first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the roofs on a different layer. So on upper, I'm just going to hit plus, and here actually I can set my base height to 2, and that way anything I draw on here will be at roof level, right? Since these are already too high, I'm going to start with my base level at 2. So I'm going to come to a flat tile over here. Let me drop down. There's some good stuff down here. Use one of these wood tiles. I'll do this one. And I'm just going to select my right layer. And I'm just going to draw over top of this. Right? And let's use our ramp. Use west. And I'll do just a couple real quick, and then I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna mod it a little bit more, like that, like that. Okay. Now you can see. Okay. All right. So that's a start. We're seeing how it works, right? And then you could do right here in this corner. You would want to do one of the interior corners. So I would use this one. Okay, you see that'll work. And I could go all the way around with that. Let me go up higher so you can see I got my flat tiles are on there. But let's go a little bit further. So I'm gonna erase what I did there. We're gonna redo it. Let's grab this and let's go out one tile further than everywhere else. I think right here. There. All right, it looks like a lot, right? But it'll be all right. And so now with this, I am going to just go through each edge, do my ramps, these two. There. Do this. This. Get here. And there. There we go. And then I'm gonna hit my interior there. Right, and now I'm also gonna add a height modifier. And since this is a flat tile, it's not like actually structural, it doesn't have a 2 height as its base. I'm gonna use the 1, and I'm gonna stretch this out across all this section, not where my ramps are. You know, you have this outer layer is where the ramps are, and then this inner layer is where the 1 is. So it's basically going from 0 to 1. Okay, so let's take a look at that and see how that looks. There we go. We got a nice looking roof there, but you can see there's still one minor issue, and that is it is open on the bottom. Now what we can do here, get a good look at it first before I move forward. Right, so that's pretty cool, not bad. But what we can do here to take care of those it's called soffit is what it is, that underneath the roofing part, the part of the house that sticks out. We're gonna add a new layer here. I'm gonna set my base height to 2. I'm gonna title it, I'll just call it invert normals because I want to check this invert normals box. And what this does is it will flip the normals, which I don't think I can explain very well, but basically we can use this now. Let me set my invert normals to the middle, and if I just draw another flat tile around. Oh, that's right, I can't see. Let me turn my one layer off. Alright, so if I draw around the perimeter of the house, there we go. Now when I start it up, we have this under this soffit section going on here, right? Pretty cool, pretty cool. All right. And just a couple of quick things to note. If you wanted to add a second story on this house, for instance, you could either build on top of this layer 2 or this height 2 layer that we've already got, which you just do something like that. You'd have to adjust your height modifiers in that section. So let me do 2 here, and then you would want to build a new roof layer on top of that. You can see that's now stacked up on top of it. You could form things as you want. That's very cool. And then another thing with the height modifiers is if you use it on a flat tile. So let's do let me get rid of that roof I just did. Remember, the roof on here, these are all flat tiles. These are not structural. So let's say I did a 2, 3, 4 here. Since these are not structural tiles, what you would end up getting is like a floating stagger, kind of like that, right? Which you could use. I mean, in certain situations, that's just fine. That's exactly what you need, but just pointing that out there. If you're wanting to adjust the heights like we did here, they need to be structural tiles. But if you use flat tiles and you do height modifier, that's what happens there. And then another thing I can point out is if you go to, all right, so this is the layer with all our structural tiles. If you go to the settings, you can adjust the unit height here. So if I modify this value here, let's just say I put a 2, it's basically gonna just make things twice as high from here, and it will clip through our roof because we set that as a base height of 2. So I mean, that's another way you can do it if you just want to build out a second floor, right? It's just pushing on through that roof that we set up, which is kind of cool. It doesn't look bad. You can see everything now on that layer is twice as tall, right? So just a couple things to note there. And I guess on layers also, you can set the opacity. You can adjust if they're visible or not. So if I turn the opacity down, let's say to 20, everything's gonna be a lot darker. Even it kind of disappears on the editor as well. I say darker, it's gonna be transparent. Kind of cool though. You can get some cool effects with that, right? Oh, and then if you want things to be able to, like a secret wall or something to be intangible, you just select that box, and now I can basically clip through any of these structures because it is intangible, right? All right. Hey, look, we're inside. All right. Well, I hope that helped. Like I said, I know I've kind of covered this topic before, but I'd seen some discussion about it again in Discord, and somebody had requested a while back for me to go into more depth with how to use these, how to make sense of the different corners and whatnot, and I totally get it. That's fine. Oops, I forgot I was intangible. So anyway, I hope that helped you guys out. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you do not have a copy of RPG Architect, go ahead and pick up your copy on Steam. We are still in early access. We are nearing 1.0, should be coming at some point this year, probably a lot sooner than we think. If you've enjoyed my tutorials, my commentary, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. It really does help me out a lot to keep these videos going, to keep creating music for you guys, so it would be much appreciated. Anyway, that's it for me today. As always, you have been amazing. I have been Bert, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.